Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about the brand new Pixel 3a and Pixel 3a XL. Now Google made the announcement during the keynote at Google I/O 2019 and it is very nice and very refreshing to see two new devices in the mid-range category from Google, specifically from the Pixel line of devices. We're going to go hands-on with a gift from Team Pixel. I want to say thank you very much for allowing me to check it out. And I got this phone actually literally yesterday, so I'm getting a chance to unbox it with you guys and we're going to check it out together. But not only that, I also want to talk to you guys about the brand new features that we have in Android Q, because we actually have a third beta that was also announced at the same time. This is TK, let's check it out. So here's the box that I got from Team Pixel. You can definitely see the outline of the device. This is more than likely the 3A. There is a second version, which is the 3A XL. We have the Google logo, and here we have it. We have the phone right here. Here's the Pixel 3a. This seems to be, if I'm not mistaken, this is the purple-ish color. So there's three different colors. There's a black, there's a white one, and then there's the purple-ish color. This is the Pixel 3a, again, with the Google logo. We have a nice thank you card and a 1-month free trial of Google Fi. They also included a case. This is the fabric case that comes in specifically for the 3A. We also have I guess a pop socket that's Team Pixel branded. It's very nice. I guess I would use this if I'm using it with the device without a case. And then last but not least, we have a very nice, actually Google bag. And that's a nice little swag right there. It looks really cool. Definitely very nice. And yeah, Team Pixel on the other side. Always Team Pixel. Thank you very much. Now to start off real quick, again, we have one of these pop socket ones, and again, it does have the Team Pixel hashtag on it. And the case that we have here is one of those custom cases made, and you can pick up definitely, this is the mesh fabric, Team Pixel again. Very soft material here. I'm going to be using the case, and again, you can either use the pop socket or the case. You can't really use them together as this one won't stick too long on it. And as far as the device, again, this is the Pixel 3a. The device itself is running the Snapdragon 670. It has 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage, and this is the purple-ish color. As I mentioned to you guys before, we have 3 different colors, the black, the white one, and the purple-ish. And of course, taking out the box, you can kind of see pretty much that it's not exactly white, that this is what white would look like, and this is slightly, it's more of a purplish hue. Very light color, and then depending on how the light is, it actually doesn't even look like it's purple. Taking out the plastic. And you can definitely see the accent color. This one is very nice. It's very bright green, almost neon green. And of course on the back we have the fingerprint sensor, the 12.2 megapixel sensor in the back. And of course now this one is essentially the dual pixel Sony IMX 363. So this is similar to the sensor that we have on the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 3 XL on the back. We have a dual tone LED flash but no laser autofocusing. You'll notice we're missing a sensor there. And of course, as I mentioned, the fingerprint sensor. There is a dual texture going on. You can kind of see it right there. It's very smooth at the top, and then well, kind of shiny, more reflective at the top and smooth in the back here. It's not glass the way we have it on the Pixel 3, which attributes to a little bit to the lighter weight that we have here. We don't have wireless charging on here. We have a volume rocker and a power button on the right side, a 3.5mm headphone jack and one of the microphones. On the bottom, we have one of the other additional microphones, a USB-C, and a bottom firing speaker that's complemented by the front-facing speaker here, so that we have stereo speakers. So we have stereo speakers here, but not front-facing stereo on both channels, front-facing top, and of course the bottom one sitting on the right. USB-C for data and charge, and it does come with an 18-watt charger. So we have USB-C to C cable, the OTG connector cable here, and the 18-watt USB-C charger, of course, US style plug. Now we'll notice that on the front we also have a front-facing camera, not 2 sensors. So this one is basically an 8 megapixel sensor at f2.0. The one on the back here is at f1.8. The big difference, of course, is that in the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL, they have dual sensors in the front. The display is rated to be a 1080p panel display, so essentially what you're getting here is full HD display, and of course this fits great in this case. And you definitely get the nice color here peeking in the back with the purple, and of course the ports on the bottom are open at the top. So here for reference I have the Pixel 3a XL, so this one is the 3a XL, again in the same color on both as far as the case and the phone. Both have that similar basically accent color, so let's go ahead and turn it on. So you got that right there, the neon green button there, and of course both are not basically supporting that notch that we have on the Pixel 3, the Pixel 3a as far as the device. So that's one thing that we want to keep in mind. We lost the notch at the top, but this one for the most part, other than having a 6-inch display we're looking at a slightly different size in battery. The Pixel 3a has a 3,000 milliamp battery. The Pixel 3a XL has a 3,700 milliamp battery. So 700 more milliamp battery power in there, just to be able to kind of get you more connected or running more longer during the day. And of course, this is running Android Q. I've already updated that, so we'll talk about some of the differences between Q and Pi running on this device. On the left, I'm running Android Q. On the right, I'm running Android Pi. So we can go ahead and go in here. We'll go into settings, same thing. And we also have some of the new features that we have with Android Q here, which is basically the dark UI that's built in. So we no longer have to look for it. We can see that we are running Android 9.0 with March 5th, 2009 security patch update. And on the left, we're running Android 10, which is Android Q with May 5th, 2019 security update. So obviously a little bit more up to date, but there definitely will be an additional update running on here as I connect this and set this up. So on both of these devices, I am running the pill right now. So if you go half a step up, we can go through the different options here. You can bring up all the way, you have access to the entire app drawer, and then of course go home. Now within the new updates that we receive with Android Q, we now have a basically dedicated dark mode. This is very, very nice. What we have here is slightly different, is the ability of basically swiping to the side. So let's go ahead and click here. If I swipe to the side and go a little bit, the notification options here are slightly different. So in Android Q, we've changed that. So now we have to either go from gentle or uninterrupted. And of course, we can go into additional settings, or we can go in here. And then those are some of the options that we have the ability of customizing. This is slightly different than what we have in Android Pie, where we're able to actually dismiss notifications. The other thing that we also have here, if you notice that I have this little option right there. And this is the live dictation functionality that was included in Android Q. The really cool thing about this is that I'm actually talking to you guys in my normal voice and my normal pace, and it's actually keeping up with all of my writing and exactly going through all of that. What's really fun, لما بقلب الحديث وأقدر أتحدث معكم بالعربي بتقدر تكتب العربي بنفس الوقت. And then you can switch over and start writing in English at the same time, and then of course you can get it configured. Very nice, very, very cool, and I really like how it works. And it actually works very well. Both of these devices are supporting, again, the same optics as far as the front-facing and back-facing cameras, and that's one of the things you want to keep in mind. As far as the actual UI and customizations, Android Q brings in a few additional things that we didn't have before, and that's the ability of basically going in there and customizing. Let's just say we go into display and we can go under theme, and again, we can turn it on light or dark theme. By default, we have it on light. That's how we get it out the box. You can turn off and then go straight to dark theme. Now under the gestures tab, we'll see that there's a couple of differences here. One of them obviously is the navigation. So system navigation, now we have 3 different options. We have by default out of the box, we get it with the 2-button navigation, similar to the way we have it in Pi. But we also have the ability of going similar to the way we had it in Oreo, which is the 3-button navigation, the back, home, and recent. Now this little action guy that's on the bottom, that's because I wanted to turn on dictation. If I didn't want it, this would just be basically the 3. I can access it and go back, and everything stays the same. The main difference, of course, is when we go to fully gestural navigation, which essentially is their gesture now. And you'll notice that the navigation button basically becomes a very, very thin line. So if I swipe down, it basically just takes over that space. You kind of saw it right there. So let's go ahead and do it again. If I swipe down, you kind of see it, it's sitting ever so slightly. So it's a much thinner navigation bar. And one of the other things that they really did very, very well is they open up the Google Play Store right here. And if I want to basically now go home, you'll notice that the actual app just kind of minimizes, goes down directly into where it's supposed to be. So if I was say on Chrome and I close Chrome, it goes back in there. If I go into the camera, same thing, goes back into it. So switching over to the camera application, for the most part, we have all the same features on both these devices. Again, this device takes amazing pictures. You could definitely see right there, but that ever so slight stutter that you saw there is a little bit due to a couple of things. A, we're running the Snapdragon 670. B, we are also running eMMC storage as opposed to UFS. UFS is definitely much faster in loading information, and unfortunately eMMC is just a little bit too old, but unfortunately, it's definitely one of the things they use to be able to cut the price down. And then when we look here, essentially in the images, I'll go back here, you could see it basically just looks amazing with the bokeh effect, and you can definitely appreciate the colors that we get with this camera and the depth of the information. You can definitely see it right there. One of the really cool things is that basically the Pixel 3a devices are receiving the time-lapse feature, and this will get pushed into this device once I start updating it. But basically it's a new feature that we're getting, a new mode of camera. We do have night sight, photosphere, photo booth, slow motion, time-lapse, of course, playground, which is what we expect before, lenses, as well as settings, and of course you have the ability of switching over between panorama, portrait, and of course video and more. let's go ahead and do a quick front-facing and back-facing camera sample of this device. So we're going to start off with the front-facing sensor here. We have an 8 megapixel sensor that's capable of going all the way to 1080p. We don't have 4K on the front, but overall it should be pretty good and it should be well stabilized. Let's switch over to the back-facing sensor. Switching over to the back-facing sensor, and with this one, the maximum we're able to go is 4K at 30 frames per second, no 4K at 60 frames, but definitely a really nice, and of course should be pretty much on par with the experience that we get with the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL. And now for a quick audio sample, we're just going to play a song. This is Alan Walker, Fade. So definitely gets loud enough. Again, just keep in mind that the experience is slightly different than what we have with the old Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL, is that the front-facing speaker is not sitting at the bottom. It's sitting actually all the way at the bottom, firing on the right side. So again, just not front-facing, but again, we still have stereo, which is still pretty good for $400. Now, I'm hoping you guys got a chance to notice that little gesture functionality. Now, because the fact that this is sitting all the way at the bottom, and it's hard, especially when you're watching YouTube videos, an example would be like in this format, we'll go in full screen. Basically the scrub bar is sitting there, but you notice I actually unfortunately kind of catch the application when I'm going in between them, and I'm just trying to catch the scrub and then trying to go, and it just doesn't do that. So you end up having to do more of a tapping scrubbing as opposed to just sliding across. But one of the other really cool things about the Android Q, you notice that we no longer have a button. So you do have the gesture functionality. That's something that we've had on Pixel devices, and it is present right here. But let's say you don't want to use that and you want to launch the Google Assistant. The really easiest way to do this is just swiping from the corner. So if you do a 45-degree angle swipe up from the corner, you have the ability of basically initiating the assistant and not having to press and hold on the device. So it's also very nice, very easy to do. The dark mode is definitely very nice and very appreciated to have that there. If you want to turn it off without just having to go in there, you just turn off dark theme right there. Of course, you can always turn on grayscale to be able to save battery if you're trying to save and just read something and make it just a little bit easier to read. And of course, just turn it off and turn it on, basically darken UI. So the overall experience using both these devices is very similar. The limitation that we're having here with the hardware is, of course, just something that we can't really control. We have 64 gigs of storage that we cannot expand. And the other thing, as far as storage capabilities, you do have the ability of offloading your images directly to Google Photos and backing them up as high quality, not at original quality. So just keep in mind it will compress them, but the images should still look pretty good. So using both of these devices, you're definitely not going to have an issue. I love the animation, the way you see right there. This one is just Android Pie, and then of course with Q, you have that nice little new implementation there. Of course, initiating the assistant is very simple here. We still have gestures on both of these devices, which is really good, which basically the squeeze functionality, you can set that up. And of course, what we have here essentially is just a very similar experience to what we get with the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL when it comes to the camera, minus the visual core from Google, which means where the cameras on the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 3 XL are a little bit more optimized to work with, let's say, Snapchat or Instagram, these cameras will work just fine. It just won't be able to use the higher quality images or basically HDR plus the way we have them on those guys. Other than that, I think overall it's a very nice budget-friendly mid-range device at $400 and $470. I think this is where we have it here with the Pixel 3a XL. I think they're definitely offering a lot of good things. If you can and you don't mind the size, I definitely would recommend you getting the Pixel 3 XL, as the Pixel 3a XL has basically the 3700 mAh battery and a bigger display. You go from a 5.6-inch display to a 6-inch display, both at 1080p, and a very similar experience. Both of these devices are offering us a very unique experience that Google hasn't really offered in the past. And what I mean by that is this is a mid-range Pixel device, which means you're still getting Google's software experience, up to 3 years worth of software support, and of course the ability of getting the latest version of the software faster than other devices on the market. Now, when I mean don't compare them to the 3 or the 3 XL is because they're really not trying to be there. They're giving us a similar experience, although a little bit different, and basically for $400 or starting around 400, I think they offer us a very good experience. I've also heard some people refer to them as basically being the new Nexus, and in reality Nexus was always offering us flagship device hardware with a lower price point, and again it was originally intended for developers only, but a lot of people started to buy them. And of course, what we see here essentially is a consumer-based experience and a very nice refined product. Now, Android Pie ships out of the box. Android Q would definitely be coming. If you'd like to check it out, just go into the beta side and install it. And it is available actually to other devices like the OnePlus 6 and the OnePlus 6T. And of course, I also heard somewhere where it said that the OnePlus 7, the brand new 7 Pro that's coming out very soon, will also have its own beta running on it as well. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the Pixel 3a and the Pixel 3a XL? Definitely a mouthful to say, but I'm really excited about what we have to offer as far as the price point and, of course, the availability, as it's available on almost all carriers: Sprint, T-Mobile, US Cellular, Project Fi, as well as Best Buy. And hopefully, if you're able to see this in time, Best Buy is running a $100 gift card. That means that you can actually get a $100 gift card when you buy the 3A, and that will make it up to $299, a $300 Pixel phone. I'll see you guys in the next video.